Hey there, listeners. Welcome to I Have Feelings and So Do You, a podcast like every other podcast because all I want to do is scream into the abyss about my own opinions. I am now joined with also not an expert. Her name is Kaylee. She's just a local, opinionated teen. What do you have to say, Kaylee?
Oh, thank you for the introduction, Han. I wanted to say it's really great to be here. And other than that, I'm absolutely terrified because podcasts don't really have scripts, or if they do, it's little to none, which is why I have nothing to go off of, and that is confusing. Thank you very much, again.
Well, you can always just take a look at the notes I have right here in front of us. They should lay out pretty well what we both feel at the same time, because everyone knows that your friends and you will have the exact same opinions on every topic. As we do here, we're going to go over a ad. Today we're going to be looking at specifically podcast audio ads, much very, very similar to what we're doing right now. So we know what a podcast is, as we are consuming that content right now. But could you just go a little bit over what you would clarify as a podcast audio ad?
Oh, of course, I know all about this topic. An audio ad inside of a podcast is just that. It's just audio within a podcast, and because a podcast is only audio, the person who creates the podcast can put it wherever and whenever they want for an extended period of time. Some pros of this is it's very good for explaining in full worded detail various services, but not so much physical objects. If I was selling you a certain food, you couldn't know what the food looks or tastes like.
Of course. You're entirely right. But then again, there's still more things that you could not possibly have listed off because I am more smart than you. And that would be stuff like the fact that a audio podcast ad, because it's coming from a consumer that you chose to listen to, it is very similar to a celebrity endorsement, no matter what you do. Because anyone who you choose to listen to does have influence over you. It causes a lot of situations where you're more prone to want to buy what they're selling because you feel like you know them, as if you're having a conversation. With that, we're going to get into our audio podcast ad today. Today we're going to be looking at a podcast called The Anthropocene Reviewed. Have you ever heard of that one?
No, I don't think I have. What an odd name. Although I do like podcasts that give their opinions that I can yell about for having said opinions. Is it anything like that?
It's exactly like that. It is incredibly similar. It is just a man talking about his opinions and writing just normal, everyday things down, writing small essays on them, and rating them on a 5-star scale. We're going to play this ad. He tends to intro his ads with a little bit of a story, so let's just hear what this sounds like, shall we?
After the break, we'll turn our attention to penalty shootouts. But first, in the Mexica city-state Tenochtitlan in the 15th century, education was considered mandatory for almost all children. The founders of the Aztec Empire, the Mexica people, had multiple words for education, including one that signified the act of giving wisdom to the face, and another that meant the art of strengthening members of the community. Mexica children were educated at home and assessed at local temples. These days, you can still get educated at home by taking classes in data science, creative writing, social media marketing, and more using Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that offers over 20,000 classes in business, design, technology, and more. And listeners of the Anthropocene Reviewed can get 2 months of unlimited access to over 20,000 classes for just 99 cents by going to Skillshare.com/anthro. Lifelong learning. That's Skillshare.com/anthro to start your 2 months straight away. And now back to the show.
That was really interesting. Who was that speaking right there?
Well, that would be none other than John Green. He is well known for being a very, very well-selling author. Author of The Fault in Our Stars and Looking for Alaska, personally my favorite book. And he also is well known for being one of the two brothers on Vlogbrothers, one of the biggest channels on YouTube, and really like the fathers of modern vlogging. So when you're looking at who consumes this podcast, it would be mostly people who would have come from those two things. When you're looking at that, it's very easy to tell the audience that he's targeting from this, because, as you know, the people who watch content like this tend to be all liberal people in their 15 to 30s, as they are a very liberal, connected audience. What would you say on this?
I think it's really interesting. I also like the way that you said the word consume. It's a very nice word. Also, to add, anybody who listens to podcasts must have some form of internet connection or phone to listen to it on, or any other kind of watching device, so they must have some kind of disposable income. So it makes sense to advertise something to spend money on, right?
Of course! Oh my goodness, yes, that's so correct. Having that money there, the ability to use especially a credit card. Having a credit card is this insane privilege that a lot of people have, and it's one that you would need when using Skillshare, as it is an online service. And with an online service comes the need to have good credit. You also need a lot of free time, the ability to do things, especially with an online class like this. So the use of that is just incredibly correct. Thank you for having similar opinions to me.
Oh, no problem. I love having opinions. Another opinion of mine is I noticed that man's voice is very professional, as if he was like a teacher of sorts. Of course, something like that would have snob appeal. Of course, could you educate the people on what snob appeal is?
Of course. Snob appeal, the basic idea that they're trying to make you seem better than other people through their ad if you use this product. Yes, he clearly seems to ensue that he would use this product, and through his celebrity endorsement, which is another thing that is happening here. Of course, you would recognize that as someone who also has opinions. And the snob appeal there really lies in the fact that he's making it seem like he's a very, very smart and trustable person. And that smart and trustable people learn through this service that he has laid out before us. I do think it's fairly interesting, but I think that there's something that we may be missing here, which is the use of facts and figures.
Yes, I like that we both know about the exact same thing, and I would like to explain that. Yes, I admire how he uses those historical facts to convey the idea that everybody learns and everybody could and can use that service.
Of course, oh my goodness, you're so correct. I completely agree. There's just this idea in there of, with these facts comes the intelligence factor, where he really seems, like we've been talking about, he really knows what he's saying, and because of that we should trust him. The facts used in there just make it seem so much more intelligent, especially when he's saying for you to use it, and with the idea that you will get this deal on it. If you are a listener to the podcast, it makes you feel like you have a personal connection, and that he, this well-educated man, must know what he's talking about. Therefore, it's a good deal to go and buy this service. I think it's really interesting. I think the only thing left I want to talk about here is ethos, pathos, and logos, and touching on what of those does this really use in it.
Oh, you're talking about Egos, Pegos, and Legos?
No, Kaylee, what are you talking about?
Don't worry, I'm just messing with you. But really, I can see that he uses ethos in a way that John Green is an influencer, and he's very well known with his various projects online. So you can trust when he is not only endorsed by Skillshare, but he also offers a savings code, which definitely makes viewers feel as if they're trusted by him enough that he would give them a code to save.
Of course, to save. You know, it really is that sense of connection there with the audience that he's grown over all these years that makes it is such good opportunity for these different people to endorse him. With this tight-knit community that he built, it's just amazing what they can do. The Nerd Fighters, which is what they call themselves, are well known for going out there and starting new things and being creative, but with this endorsement, it's really pulling on that idea. It's saying, well, I know that you can do this, so you must want to do more. It makes for an interesting thing, especially when we're going into logos. Logos being the logical side, because you can see that he's using this story behind there saying anyone could learn. We've been learning for hundreds of centuries. So, of course, you can do. You can do.
You can do.
You can do.
Yeah.
And now a word from a local opinionated teen. Cal.
Hey guys, huge fan. Just wanted to let the listeners know that ads are just contributing to the disease that is consumerism.
Wow. I just love our listeners and how they have opinions, you know? They really are the lifeblood of this podcast and what we do here. You know, Cal, what you're saying there, that's really hitting home on the topic that I really wanted to talk about next. What is the connection that this has with the real world? What subjects does this really say? And one thing that I really feel like it has a lot to say about is consumerism and the fact that we're all just looking to do more and learn more. With stuff like this, we run into issues where everyone wants to be able to do the new biggest thing. And we can't all be video editors. We can't all be podcasters. Really, there's just a set few that can really work for. And with consumerism, we keep on pushing and pushing for more things, more skills, more services that you can take. And I really do think that, like, this ad is very much so pushing that propaganda, whether it's meaning to or not. What's your opinion on the subject, my good friend?
Oh, I really wholeheartedly agree with that idea of everything being controlled by consumerism. It's kind of sad that this ad, along with many other ads, are one of the most driving forces in this, and we're all controlled by it, and really our whole society is connected in this big web of consumerism. But for this ad, the medium was just perfect. I love podcasts.
And on that note, I think we'll end today's episode. As always, we are filmed in Cape Breton, and we are audio recorded on this iPhone. I would like to thank my guest today, Kaylee, and I would like to thank our wonderful, amazing guest in here, the call-in today, Calcium, long for Cal. And I would just like to sign off saying, I have feelings.
And I do too.
Yes, I have feelings.
And so do you.
Thanks, everyone.